Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. In today's video, I've got two stories for you and both of them have updates. So let's get started with the first one. This post is from the subreddit True of My Chest and it's by user ThreWaway175. I am leaving her tonight. I've been with my partner for 3 years now. As always, things started great. She has a daughter that I've grown to love as my own, even though her bio dad is still in the picture. I dropped everything for them and I got a bigger apartment. I switched jobs to make more money. I changed everything to give them the peace of mind they deserve. It was all better than I could ever have imagined until this weekend. That's when I found out she was cheating on me with her sister's roommate. She didn't have a great relationship with her sister when we first met, and I encouraged her to rekindle it because I knew it bothered her. Her sister is a free spirit, rarely holds down a job, drinks, and does absurd amounts of recreational drugs just to pass the time. She lives with 4 guys whom she and my partner have known since middle school. They seemed cool enough the few times I've hung out with them, so whenever she wanted to go hang out with her sister, I wouldn't bat an eye. I found out during our camping trip for the holiday weekend when she was in the bathroom with her daughter. I grabbed her phone to look at some videos she had been taking, but admittedly, curiosity got the better of me and I went through her messages. That's when I saw her texts to the roommate. I felt almost paralyzed. It almost felt like I was going to black out, but I somehow managed to gather myself and chill out. I took some screenshots of the texts to have as proof and put her phone back in her bag. I didn't say anything to her. We only had a few hours left before we came home, and I wanted to spend those hours with her daughter. The past few days, I've been thinking of what to do, and the best solution I can think of is just packing my stuff up and ghosting her. I am quitting my job tomorrow morning, and after she's left for work, I'll grab my stuff and leave her with a printout of the messages I read. I'm still in a daze. My whole life is gone now. The future I saw for us is nothing, and I'm not sure how to process all of this. I'm calling my brother a few states away to see if I can stay with him and set up shop somewhere else. Tonight though, I have to lay down next to her, and I'm not sure I won't break down knowing what's coming. Well, OP, of course this all sucks, but you've got a plan in place and I think it's the right thing to do. You're not gonna play the pick me game. You're not gonna try to figure out why she did, nothing like that. It really doesn't matter. It's done, you know about it, cat's out of the bag, so now you just need to hold on for a few more hours and then you're out of there. Now, apart from you, there's only one other person who I feel is going to get some repercussions from this, and that's her daughter. Now, I know she still has her dad in her life, but you also are some sort of a father figure. I mean, you mentioned that you've been raising her as your own, so I'm pretty sure you love her, considering that you wanted to spend those last few hours with her. So maybe before you leave, you can make some sort of a video, or maybe write her a letter and leave him with her dad if you're on good terms with him. Or, I don't know, maybe keep an email of her and send her that video or email later in time, so she just doesn't feel like you've abandoned her. Of course, I know you have no responsibility towards this child, but there is an emotional connection. And it can also help you get some sort of closure from this whole thing, and you can move over to your brothers and just start anew. At least, I think I'd try to do something like that. And what about you guys? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Dubai Dude 57 says, "Sorry dude, were you blindsided or did you suspect some issues? Well done for having the strength to move on. It's best for both sides of the equation. I am with you, would not bother having a conversation just to go and live your best life and find someone to have a loving and faithful relationship with." And OP responds, "It was a shock. They seemed more like family than anything, but I guess I missed the signs. Thank you for the words of encouragement." The Noir Knight 1 says, "Man, I'm so sorry. I think at least tell the daughter you love her before you go. I feel for you. You know how much you can bear. I don't think you'll get any closure from confronting your ex. It'll just be excuses and maybe begging. Just be sure before you quit your job, but maybe changing things up will help you heal and go forward. I wish you happiness and good luck." And Opie responds, I will definitely tell her. Thank you. Sin0209 says, I'm a co-parent and my ex is a cheater. Why we split? The only thing I would say is, if he is a good dad, it is to give him a heads up after you leave. This way, he can damage control with the child. Even though she knows you were her mom's boyfriend, there was a bond, and this can be damaging for a child. I would hope her dad is a good dude and will do what he can to get ahead of that damage. Otherwise, F her, man. She will have a meltdown over this, so be prepared for that, as I'm sure she is about to lose a lot more than just her boyfriend based on what you've stated. Additional information from OP's comments. I really can't stay here anymore. It's not a big city and I don't want to take the chance of seeing her anymore. I work in tech, so it shouldn't be hard at all. Plus, I'd be moving to a bigger city. I do have some savings built up, so I won't be in a terrible position. It may be an overreaction, but right now, I think it's worth it. Maybe I'll never make peace with it, but I know I did everything I could to make her happy, and I don't have it in me to listen to her try and justify what she did. Although a part of me does want to know why she did it, where did I come up short? But honestly, I'd rather live with the doubt than with having to deal with the crap show that she is going to cause. And regarding her daughter, I have a picture of us that we took with Minnie at Disney that I keep in my wallet and will leave in her bed. I'd write a note, but she isn't reading all that well right now. Alright, well, the community of course is absolutely backing OP in his decision, but they have warned him, just like I did, that there is a bond with the daughter, so maybe he'd like to do something about that before he just ghosts everyone. And OP was very open to that. Now, OP has given us 5 updates, 4 in the in-post and 1 final update 2 months later. So I curated the first 4 updates into one, and that's what we're gonna move on with next. But before that, as usual, I'd ask you to leave a like if you've enjoyed this video. If not, you can always dislike it if you don't. Or you can leave a comment, because that always helps. Also, if you still haven't joined our community, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join us. Now let's continue with the updates. First, I want to thank everyone for their kind words and advice. I'm doing the best I can right now. I am meeting with my boss in an hour or so to wrap that up. I am also taking the advice of talking to her baby's dad about me leaving. We have always had a good relationship and I want to give him a heads up on what's coming. As far as the apartment goes, we only have 3 more months on the lease and I am planning on paying for the remaining months, mainly so her daughter has somewhere to stay for the time being. I made sure she knew that I loved her and always would. Holding her this morning, knowing it was the last time I would ever see her, was the most difficult thing I've ever done, and it took everything inside of me to not sob while doing that. OP's update 2. You guys are right. I should have a talk with her daughter before I go. So when her bio dad picks her up from daycare, I will be meeting them and talking to her in person before I go. It means a lot that he is letting me do this, and hopefully it's just enough closure for her. OP's update 3. I met up with Bio Dad and the little one, and yeah, I really needed to have that conversation with her to let her know that even if I'm not there, I'll always love her and that it isn't her fault that I'm leaving. I did cry. I cried a lot actually. I know I'll eventually fade away from her memory and just become someone she has vague memories with, but I'll remember her until my last breath. I never knew I wanted kids until she came into my life and showed me what true and pure love is. I thanked her dad for letting me have that moment with her. I gave him that Disneyland picture in case she ever asked about me. He is aware of what went down and who my ex is spending time with. As for my ex, I left the screenshots on the kitchen table along with my key to the apartment. I've blocked her number and my family did the same. I also blocked any mutual friends' numbers in case she tries to reach me through them. It's crazy that I'm leaving behind the last 5 years of my life, but I honestly can't stay here. My brother will let me stay with him over in LA until I figure out what my next move is. I am off all social media, and once I get to my brother's, I'll change my number. I just want to say that I loved them with every ounce of my being. I'll miss the walks around the apartment complex, the random trips to Walgreens, watching Sophia the First until I memorized the episodes by heart, especially coming home from work and feeling like I mattered, feeling like I had a purpose and that no matter what went on during my day, all of that wouldn't matter once I opened that door. I miss all of it, but I know deep down I have to let go. OP's Update 4. I want to thank you guys for all the support and even the few negative comments that I got on this. It's nice knowing I wasn't completely alone through the early parts of this whole situation. I am at my brother's now and still getting set up, but I'm hopeful that things will get better with time. I'll be honest, it's brutal right now and I still get flooded with sadness constantly. On the drive here, I had to pull over and let it all out finally. I'm sure right now we would be having dinner or watching a movie, and instead I'm on my brother's porch trying not to cry while I type this out. I haven't heard anything from my ex yet, which is helping, but knowing her, she'll try and find a way to reach me. Everything reminds me of them. I saw a Little Mermaid poster earlier and almost lost it. I never got to take the little one to see it, and that just kills me. I do wonder though what I was missing or where I came up short for this to happen. I've run circles around it and I can't explain it. I hope I heal fast from this because I've got a whole life to live. I hope I did enough for the little one not to have been hurt by all of this. I hope she keeps a sliver of me in her memory and I hope she is loved like I loved her. Again, thank you all for the positivity and the encouragement. I'll make it out of this. I've done it before and I'll do it again. Maybe I'll update this sometime in the future, or feel free to send me a message. Be safe and I wish everyone the absolute best. Well, OP, maybe you weren't missing anything or you didn't come up short and your ex was just a crappy person. So hopefully with time you can put that to rest. Now, OP has given us a final update that's just a few months after this last update. So let's finish this story with that. Hello everyone, I want to say again how appreciative I am for the positive comments and messages I've gotten. They have really helped out in keeping me at least sane during this whole ordeal. I am settling in as well as I can here in LA, even though it's a bit crazy. It has helped to distract me. I have not spoken to my ex yet, but I did hop on a call with my old landlord, who said that my ex did go a bit crazy for a few days after I left, but eventually her family came and moved her out and that he has not heard from her after that. I've thought about calling her daughter's bio dad to check in on the little one, but I keep reminding myself that I'm not really ready for that yet. I also don't want to give her hope that I'll be coming back around. Plus, that's not really my role anymore, as sad as it is to say that. I've given myself time to really feel everything I needed to feel for the time being. The sadness, the anger, the anxiety, the confusion, all of it. I did wonder how I was going to manage to put it all back together, but every day that passes, it gets easier. I know a day will come when I completely stop thinking of her, but for now, I find her in a lot of what I do. Her laugh, her aroma, her smile, everything. Some of the best times of my life were with her at my side, and it almost seems like I'm in a bad dream that I'm due to wake up from. I sincerely hope that she matures from this because she has a little girl depending on her, a little girl who looks up to her and loves her. My brother's condo is near Disneyland and seeing all of the families walking around is a bittersweet thing for me. Bitter because I wish that were me, but sweet because I know that will be me. Again, thank you to everyone for your kind words. I wish you all the absolute best. Well, OP, it's not a happy update, but it is a positive update because there's a trend. You're starting to feel a little bit more alive, you're coming to your own, and you have hope for the future, which is always a good thing. So on that note, here's wishing you the best for the future, OP. Thank you so much for sharing and take care. And now let's move on to the next post that, like I said in the beginning, also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Advice, and it's by user Lavanda de la Tulipe. Ex-fiance wants to catch up after he left me at the altar. How do I proceed? My 28 female ex-fiance, Derek, 32 male, disappeared the morning of our wedding 2 years ago, evading all attempts to reach him from his family and me. It was devastating, absolutely soul-crushing. The event turned into a party to distract from the pain of the unknown. Afterwards, I returned to our apartment and slept on the bathroom floor in my wedding dress. It was quite an ugly sight, to be honest. His mother ended up coming to the apartment when she informed me tearfully that Derek had run off with an ex of his. They had apparently reconnected a week prior to the wedding, and he just couldn't go through with it, opting instead to rekindle his relationship with his ex. His family was horrified. I didn't hear from him until 3 months after he left. He called me, apologized, and then he revealed that his ex has been hiding a child from him, which he had just found out about, and he wanted to be with them. That's pretty much all that was said. I didn't say much. Actually, I think I only said, hello? The whole situation left me numb. I just didn't care anymore. Thankfully though, my friends were and continue to be there for me through all of this muck. They encouraged me to seek therapy and work on healing. I'll be honest, it was terribly difficult, but after a year, I felt myself again. This brings me to today. After this whole debacle and subsequent self-improvement and rebuilding, I moved to the UK, originally from Australia, for a change in scenery. Last night, I got a message request on Instagram. It was Derek. Hey, I've heard you moved to Wales, that's so cool. I'm traveling to Cardiff towards the end of July. I'm deeply sorry about everything and I want to discuss what happened leading up to the wedding. I hope I'm not overwhelming you. Let me know if you'd like to talk over lunch. Firstly, I have no idea who told him about my move. Secondly, I don't know if I crave closure from him, but I also don't want to decide to decline to only later regret my decision. So I turned to you strangers of the internet. What should I think about before reaching a decision? Would it be wise to decline, or should I humor him and listen to his reasons? Well, OP, personally, I think you shouldn't even respond to his message. Unless, of course, you really do need to listen to his reasons to get some sort of closure. But if you don't, like you said, you've done all the work with the therapist, you've moved on, then why do it? Why poke at that wound? Besides, the way he went about it, I don't think there's an excuse. It was coward. He just ran away without telling anybody and avoiding anybody. He didn't even have the brass to stand in front of you and tell you, you know what? We need to cancel this whole thing. I can't go through with this. So no, personally, I don't think you owe him anything and you should just ignore him. And what do you guys think OP should do? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on with the community comments to see what they said. Otherwise, Table 1935 says, I wouldn't bother. You've closed that chapter. Don't open all wounds for yourself. He's selfish as F. Deleted says, he doesn't deserve your time. Don't waste your time hearing his excuses. He messed up and don't deserve closure and forgiveness. Do what's best for you and move on. He doesn't deserve any more of your tears. And Maytabel9 says, well, here's the reply I'd send. F right back off to whatever hole you crawled out of, Derek, and do not contact me again. Anything he wants to say to you is going to be entirely self-serving. I can pretty much guarantee you that. You don't need a dose of his BS. You've come so far. Face forward and keep going. Alright, well, the community was pretty clear and straightforward with OP. Don't even bother. So now, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. So initially, I decided not to respond to his message. A day after, however, I received another message from him, which I won't write out in its entirety. To sum it up for you all though, he apologized for how disingenuous his initial message was and explained why he had reached out to me. Essentially, he wanted to discuss that week, that final week before our wedding, and the events that led up to him dipping out. Now, I will refrain from entirely delving into my exes and my past, but my ex-fiancé was diagnosed with PTSD with avoidant attributions from past experiences. His diagnosis did provide quite a bit of clarity, looking back at our relationship and his past behavior, so I truly feel for him in his journey of self-healing. However, despite his struggles, I still told him that I couldn't forgive him for his callous act of leaving me in a perpetual state of limbo for 3 months, unsure of why he had abandoned me. He said he understood. Now, some of you will be quite mad with me. I ultimately agreed to meet him for lunch, and I do not regret it. He's not with his ex. Actually, she passed away 6 months after he left me at the altar, which is part of the reason why she reached out to him in the first place. Since then, he has been working on himself through therapy and navigating single fatherhood. Yes, the child is his. The lunch wasn't too long, but it was all around cathartic on both sides. At the end of the lunch, he handed me over an envelope which contained all the money we spent preparing for the wedding. Honestly, I was dumbfounded. It wasn't a gesture I was expecting on his behalf, and I think he was taken aback when I returned the ring he gave me. It's funny I held on to the ring just in case I needed to sell it if my finances continued to be unstable, but I never had to. It's ironic that in the end, I did receive money while seemingly trading that ring. He looks better and does not toot my horn, but I feel I do as well. Now that the chapter has concluded and I no longer feel rage or remorse, I feel free. I feared that I might have still harbored feelings for him, but I had since found that I loved him for the man he was in that moment when we were together, and though we're now apart, I'm okay with looking back and acknowledging the love I had for him. I've closed that chapter now with him, with the woman I was with him. Thank you all so much. Now I need to figure out what I should spend the money on, haha. Well, OP, I guess I stand corrected, but of course we didn't know the whole context of the situation. But the bottom line is that you are okay, you're doing better, and you've got a great outlook on life. Plus, you've got some additional money there to spend. So all's good, and here's wishing you the best in the future. Thank you so much for sharing and take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.